Let's talk about Palace 1, Arsenal 5, which sounds like it was a cruise, and ultimately in the end it was, but there was a long time where the game really could have gone either way. Arsenal the better side, and they forced that home in the end. The issue arising from the game for Arsenal is Bukayo Saka'a, who's going to be out till February. Mikel Arteta spoke to the media about how he plans to cope with the loss of not just one but two right-wingers, Bukayo Saka'a and Raheem Sterling.
We have to look internally what we have and be creative, do a very good exercise again. How can we mold the squad? How can we adapt to the circumstances and be different? We cannot pretend to be the same. We're going to have to be different and trying to find the best way to do it and be very competitive and win a lot of games.
How many times have we heard this season that Bukayo Saka'a is a doubt or is carrying a knock, carrying an injury, and he still plays for Arsenal?
This is different.
Because he's so good. Well, hear me out on this, right? Because I think Mikel Arteta is absolutely 100% to blame for this. Arsenal were 3 up at Preston in the Carabao Cup. Bukayo Saka'a came on as a sub for half an hour, and they're 3-0 up. 5-1 up away to Sporting. Saka played the whole 90 minutes. 3-0 against Monaco at home. Saka played the whole 90 minutes.
Agreed.
This is terrible management of a player who, how many games, over 200 games he's played, and what is he, 22, 23? Arteta has to hold his hands up and accept he's got this wrong.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great point and probably very relevant to where he's at with the injury, muscle injury. He is an explosive player, and this could have happened even if he'd been rested in all those games. So that is fair to say, but it's unlikely the amount of minutes he plays isn't a factor. I've been on your page with that quite a long time. Even last season, lots of games they were cruising in, and he doesn't bring him off. Yeah, and I don't think Saka's the type. He's not a Mo Salah type who'd be whinging and moaning about coming off. He's more. It's
very low maintenance.
Yeah, very low maintenance. Good way of putting it. I actually think, and it's a shame. I mean, talked about Sterling now. I know he's got a little injury as well. I don't know when he's back, but
I think they're out for similar.
Are they really?
Time, yeah,
that's a shame for Sterling because I don't think he's been given a fair run at them. I say a fair run, a run in the team.
And this would have been a perfect opportunity.
But they have got a solution, and I think people's memories don't go back far enough. Gabriel Jesus had the majority of his success at Man City playing off the right. And did it brilliantly when they won the title as well. He played a hell of a lot of games on that right-hand side and gets goals from there because he comes in off the right. And he does his defending as well as anyone as a wide. Now,
but Dan, do you think there's an irony about the fact that he has done so well from that position, but the last 2 games where he scored 5 goals, it's been through the middle, and he seems to have had a new lease of life? Some of the match reports from yesterday are talking about the fact that he's gone from a nothing player, no, it's probably too harsh, but very much on the fringes, very much looking as though he's going to be sacrificed in the window, to being a player now suddenly who's the answer through the middle without necessarily being the answer on the right-hand side. Because if you do stick him there, what then do you do through the middle?
Well, you put Havertz back there. I think in an ideal world, you'd leave a player in great form scoring goals in his position, but needs must. And the great advantage you've got of a player who's now full of confidence, even when you ask him to play a different position, he'll still get chances from that right side because Arsenal dominate teams a lot of the times. And he's a bit different than Saka, obviously, we know that. And we could play Martinelli on the right, he can do lots of things. The reality is with Jesus, he's not just somebody who can score goals from wide positions. He played wide more for City than he did through the middle. I know he did play through the middle at times, but he was at City, he got 95 goals in 236 games. That's 1 in 2.5.
To the point where the Brazil head coach was talking about playing him there as well.
Yeah.
And people say, what are you playing him there for? You know, he should be playing for the middle. But he saw the effect that he had because he works incredibly hard, Jesus.
Well, I think he's 1 in 4 at Arsenal, which isn't as good as the level he was at City, which could be because you're in and out. The other thing he's got, which is why I would play him there and ask him to do a job for me, because you're keeping him happy by playing him, and he's not the type to whinge, but he's been part of a winning squad at City. He understands that, and he never had a problem with it. He was part of that squad for a while where they were winning things. He was in, he was out. He didn't play in some of the big games, the finals. He's the one that gets pulled, and he got on with it. I don't think he's the type to turn around to Arteta and go, I want to play up front. He'll go, what job do you want me to do?
Yeah. I agree with
and
all
he's a leader.
That. The problem, what we're seeing in this season, and we've obviously seen it before, but this season more than ever is the extent to which the loss of one player can take away the momentum from a team. And I didn't think that was the case before. When Rodri was missing from City, we all thought, well, he could stick maybe Rico Lewis in there or maybe play John Stones in there. And there were so many people with so many potential solutions. But without Rodri's leadership, I don't think it's technical. I think it's organisation, it's leadership, it's ability to step up and score a crucial goal in a difficult moment. It's that ability to protect as well as be the fulcrum for the attacks as well.
It's also an intangible, really.
Exactly.
Because this is the guy who is the current holder of the Ballon d'Or. We're talking about the very best player in the world and his teammates around him. I always say they can pick 11 players, but without Rodri, they're playing with 10.
100%.
Yeah, the big difference, the different comparison here, it's worth trying to draw comparisons, but I don't think there is one. In that, what all the things you say is right about Rodri. I'm his biggest fan. But the one thing he had that no one else has got, really, unless you put like an Akanji in there, is the physical presence. Now, Saka's explosive, he's quick, he's dynamic. Arsenal have got other quick, explosive, dynamic players. Not who are as consistent as Saka, or maybe as dangerous, because Saka's one of the best young players in Europe. But they've still got some like for like. You know, you've got pacey, wide players who are dynamic, who can do the job.
Let me put this to you, because all the things you say about Jesus were on the same page. But I just think with what makes Saka so great is that everybody knows what he's going to do, and nobody can stop him from doing it. He's just got that X factor, that intangible that you were mentioning. That's what Saka has that I think Jesus doesn't have, and that would be my one worry about replacing him like for like.
That's fair. The only thing is, what I would say with Saka, and I'm not trying to be a pedant. We know Saka wants to go on his left, so players do show him more on his right. But what Saka's got, which a lot of lefties don't, is he'll happily go on his right and put little great balls in and smack some in the bottom corner with his right foot. So you have to defend both, which means he is going to get some on his left. The fact that he can go on his right means he's got more joy on his left.
Yes.
And I think that's why Saka's, and he's so fit and strong and all the other things you can attribute to him. But I'm just looking for solutions for Arsenal. I mean, the young lad's a talent.
Nwaneri.
Nwaneri,
Yeah, Nwaneri.
He's played out there before.
He's played out there and he's dynamic and he can beat people.
But see,
it's a big ask.
When I was talking about the individual players and their loss, they lost 4 games when Odegaard wasn't there. And when he was injured, people had a similar conversation around who they could put there. There were personnel that you could put there, but they don't have that intangible.
No, they don't. Odegaard's a conductor.
Yeah. And
probably the most intelligent player in their team. Great intelligence, when to press, when to come short, when to go move away. He's
but I think Saka's identical for his age. He's 23 years of age, but he does have that game intelligence. He does have that.
But he's not in
ability.
The middle of the pitch.
Well, he's not in the middle of the pitch, but from that right side, I saw a terrific piece that was saying that at that point, I think it was Jonathan Northcroft in the Sunday Times was saying 44% of Arsenal's attacks come down that right-hand side. There is an over-reliance on Saka, not just with his ability to score goals, but his ability to dictate the play from that right-hand side and be involved in a lot of the key moments. And that's what I think they're going to lose. And although I totally agree that Jesus is a very capable player down that right-hand side,
yeah, he's not the same.
He's not the same.
No. It's a loss.
The stats are Saka for club and country has played nearly 300 senior games and he turned 23 3 months ago. He's so good, though. Absolutely love him. A joy to watch.
Be interesting to know how many of those games in the last 3 years, 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons.
Oh, they're on it.
Since they've been competitive.
They're on it. They'll find out.
Where they've been winning by more than 2 goals.
Yeah.
Or 2 goals or more, and he stayed on.
Yeah. Very, very quickly, and it's got to be very quick. Both of you, do you give Arsenal, how much of a chance of winning the title do you give Arsenal?
I worry for them now without Saka. I think it's now Liverpool's to go on and press home.
I still think they're the strongest competitor.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.